Power dialers for B2B, AI-powered efficiency. The phone isn't dead, manual dialing is. If you've watched an SDR grind through a call block with a spreadsheet and a headset, you've seen the real problem. Most of the work isn't selling, it's waiting, dialing, and logging. Rings, voicemails, and copy-pasting notes eat the day and crush momentum. AI-powered power dialers fix that by turning a call block into a repeatable system instead of a willpower test. At a basic level, a power dialer automatically dials through a prioritized list, so reps spend their time on live conversations, not mechanics. The practical outcome is simple. Manual dialing often caps reps at 10 to 15 calls per hour, while dialers routinely push that to 50 to 60 plus without hiring more people. That kind of lift changes the math of pipeline, especially for teams running tight territories and short call windows. But volume alone isn't the point. The goal is predictable, qualified meetings that actually convert, which is why the AI layer matters. Better pacing, better targeting, and cleaner CRM data in real time. When dialers are implemented with strategy, not as a gadget, teams report contact rate gains in the 45 to 65% range and revenue lifts of 30% plus once adoption is solid. Why power dialers matter in modern B2B outbound. Outbound teams don't usually lose because their reps can't talk. They lose because they can't reach enough of the right people consistently. One benchmark shows the average salesperson makes about 52 calls per day with only a 13% live answer rate, which often translates into just a handful of conversations. In controlled testing, switching from manual dialing to a dialer produced a 72.7% productivity increase, and that's before you even optimize messaging. This is exactly where a strong outbound sales agency or sales development agency can outperform an in-house best effort approach. Structure and repetition beat sporadic activity. Tyndall reports power dialers drive a 100 to 300% increase in daily outbound calls, which is why so many B2B sales agency teams treat dialing capacity as infrastructure. The key is using that extra capacity to concentrate on your ICP, not to torch your market faster. If you want a simple way to explain the value to leadership, compare the day-to-day reality of manual calling versus dialer-powered calling. The difference isn't just more dials, it's more selling time per hour, fewer missed follow-ups, and cleaner reporting for RevOps. Here's a practical baseline comparison you can use to set expectations. What makes a power dialer AI-powered and worth it? A basic auto dialer just speeds up dialing. An AI power dialer uses signals, past outcomes, time of day performance, rep availability, list quality, and even engagement data to decide who to call next and how aggressively to pace. Done right, AI is a quality lever as much as a speed lever because it routes more attempts toward accounts that resemble your wins. The most practical AI features are the ones that remove human error and create usable data. AI-assisted disposition tagging and automatic CRM sync reduce the "I'll log it later" problem that destroys follow-up timing and reporting accuracy. Conversation intelligence adds another layer by transcribing calls and surfacing objections, sentiment, and patterns, which gives managers something concrete to coach instead of relying on gut feel. Where teams get the biggest jump is when dialer activity is connected to the rest of the stack. When your dialer queue reflects email engagement, CRM history, and account fit, reps stop starting calls with "Who is this?" conversations and start getting "Yes, I saw that" moments. That's the difference between a tool that creates noise and an engine that creates pipeline. How to roll out a dialer without breaking compliance or rep trust. The worst rollout is, here's a login, go dial. Treat the dialer as a strategy. Define call blocks, list priorities, and talk time targets before anyone hits start. We recommend a structured pilot with 2 to 4 SDRs, 1 to 2 ICP segments, and a 60 to 90-day window so you can iterate pacing, scripts, and data quality weekly rather than arguing about opinions. Data hygiene has to come before speed because a dirty list plus a fast dialer just burns your market faster. Validate phone numbers, segment by persona, apply time zone logic, and keep early dialer queues tight and high fit. This approach also supports your brand. It's how B2B cold calling stays consultative instead of turning into telemarketing. Compliance isn't optional. Assign an owner in RevOps or SalesOps and review your dialer settings like you'd review email domain health. Under TCPA rules for abandoned calls, campaigns using automated dialers generally can't exceed a 3% abandonment rate over a 30-day period, and violations can trigger penalties of $500 to $1,500 per call. Start in power progressive modes. Keep pacing conservative and monitor abandonment and spam signals weekly before you scale volume. A power dialer isn't a volume hack. It's a workflow that turns call time into conversation time. Best practices that turn more dials into more meetings. Start by measuring your current reality before you buy anything. Have a small group of reps track a full day, dials, talk time, voicemail time, and admin time. Then quantify what has to improve for the investment to make sense. This baseline is also how you prevent the most common mistake, optimizing for speed while meeting quality stays flat. Use local presence and caller ID management responsibly to improve connect rates without creating spam signals. Local presence dialing has been reported to lift answer rates from about 8% to as high as 24%, but it works best when you pair it with reasonable call frequency and clean segmentation. Your goal is a reputation that compounds over time, not a short-term spike followed by flagged numbers. Finally, eliminate the busy work that silently kills throughput. Some vendors report reclaiming up to 4.2 hours per rep per day by removing manual dialing, repetitive voicemail steps, and CRM updates. And that time should be reinvested into higher quality conversations. Make AI transcription, smart dispositions, and automatic CRM sync non-negotiable, so your call notes and next steps are captured while the context is fresh. Common mistakes that kill results, and the fixes. The fastest way to waste a dialer is to use it to crank more random calls. When you dial faster without better targeting, you chew through lists, annoy prospects, and fill calendars with junk meetings that never convert. The fix is simple. Enforce ICP filters. Prioritize buying committee roles, and let AI scoring push the best fit accounts to the top of the queue. The second mistake is running predictive or multi-line dialing with no guardrails. Over-aggressive pacing increases dead air answers, pushes you toward that 3% abandonment ceiling, and creates a terrible first impression. Start with power progressive modes. Implement conservative pacing rules, and review abandonment and spam indicators every week until you can scale responsibly. The third bucket is management negligence, ignoring call analytics, treating every rep the same, and letting outcomes get logged after the fact. When reps manually log notes later, follow-ups slip, reporting becomes fiction, and coaching turns into guesswork. Use call recordings, AI tagging, and a consistent KPI model tied to meetings, opportunities, and closed won, not just dials and connects, so reps optimize for outcomes instead of activity. How to optimize dialer performance with coaching and signal-based prioritization. Once a dialer is stable, optimization is about tightening the feedback loop. Teams report contact rate lifts of 45 to 65% after implementing dialers, and Aberdeen, as cited by Colin, points to 74% higher contact rates for teams using advanced dialing technology. Those gains don't come from more effort, they come from better lists, better pacing, and better coaching. Conversation intelligence is the fastest coaching win because it shows what's actually happening on calls. Use transcripts and call libraries to identify openers that lead to longer conversations, objections that stall deals by segment, and talk-to-listen ratios that correlate with meetings booked. Then standardize what works into onboarding, weekly call reviews, and persona-specific scripts, instead of letting every rep reinvent the wheel. Prioritization is the second big lever. Blend dialer data with CRM and email signals so the queue reflects intent and engagement. When your dialer surfaces prospects who opened emails, clicked links, or match your highest win rate segments, you get fewer bad timing interactions and more relevant conversations. This is where a multi-channel outbound sales agency approach wins, because calls, cold email agency execution, and CRM history reinforce each other instead of competing. Build in-house or outsource, choosing the fastest path to pipeline. If you have strong RevOps support, clean data, a coaching culture, and the time to tune pacing and compliance, building in-house can work. But dialing is unforgiving. Poor execution gets numbers flagged and burns your market, which is why many teams choose sales outsourcing or an outsourced sales team to move faster with fewer mistakes. The decision usually comes down to whether you want to spend the next quarter building a system or buying one that already works. At SalesHive, we've built our process specifically for high-quality, high-volume outbound that doesn't feel like a call center. Since 2016, we've supported over 1,500-plus clients and booked 100,000-plus meetings by pairing a modern dialer stack with strong list-building services, tight CRM hygiene, and multi-channel touches. That's why companies looking for a cold calling agency, B2B cold calling services, or an SDR agency often choose to partner rather than rebuild the wheel under pressure. No matter which route you take, your next steps should be concrete. Audit how reps spin their call blocks, pilot with a narrow ICP, and instrument the right KPIs from day one. If you're exploring outsourced sales options, hold partners to the same standard you'd hold an internal team. Compliance ownership, transparent reporting, and meeting quality tied to pipeline outcomes. When a dialer rollout is treated as a revenue system, not just new software, it becomes one of the highest leverage upgrades a B2B team can make.